everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Skeletons once again. This has been one of my favorite decks to be playing in my downtime whenever I have time, because one, the games you play are very fast, and it's a very good deck at climbing, especially in best of one, ranging anywhere from 60 to 70% win rates, and other players being able to perform that as well. I have been informed this is a list from Mythic Mike. If you read the comments, a couple people let me know. Love Mythic Mike. Didn't know he was kind of the first one. I know the United Battlefront with Corpse of the Lost was kind of a thing a lot of people were doing, but Mythic Mike has been on Skeletons for, I think, literally since Corpse of the Lost has come out. So I know that the main theme of this is now by Mythic Mike. Thank you everyone for letting me know. I love it. Either way, it's funny. I'm more or less making a joke out of it, but either way, big thanks to Mythic Mike for the list. Not that he gave it to me personally. We kind of had to find it, but that's okay. With that said, we are playing Skeletons once again. Again, very good deck. A lot of people have had really good success with it. The only thing we really changed is we cut 2 Seam Rips, added 2 Tiny Bones to Pickpocket, just because we wanted a little bit better pressure. And oftentimes with United Battlefront, I felt like with how many Seam Rips and how many Nowhere to Runs and how many Sheltered by Ghosts we had, this was oftentimes grabbing one of them with no targets, so it felt like we had a little too much of those. So I wanted to go back a little bit so we can maybe play a little bit earlier aggression instead of holding on to an extra Seam Rip or 2. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into the games. I hope you all enjoyed them, and let's go play. I'm going to go first here. Might be... I mean, going first is obviously great. Hand might be a little weird just because we obviously don't have any payoffs in our hand, and having 2 scavengers, it kind of come in a little bit weird, but this does leave us into, if we rip a Corpse of the Lost, obviously that's a fantastic draw in the spot, and it leaves our United Battlefront draw wide open as well, as we'll have 4 mana. So it's kind of one of those where keep the mana to do everything, and you keep like a pretty good early game and just hope not to flood, you know, the usual. But our opponent is here. I thought I was about to have to make a cut already. That's okay. I know how it is. Sometimes you hit the Q button. Having a dog has taught me that. You think you're ready to game, and then find yourself outside. Candy Trail, so it's artifacts. I would assume can't imagine blue-white controls playing this card. There's just too much stuff in the meta to be slowing yourself down playing Candy Trail. But when you have the kind of card that sacrifices this and gets other artifacts, it makes total sense, right? So, also gains a little bit of life, but must be a tough decision here. Maybe trying to decide if they're against mono white or something else. Fortunately for us, I would say playing Skeletons, you get kind of the element of surprise. Whereas like mono white auras, they can just know what to expect. Maybe they think I might have like a Shelter by Ghost here. So a Spring Loaded Trap, maybe not the card. And there's a Corpse of the Lost, so kind of right on cue. We rip a United Battlefront and everything will be coming up our way, that's for sure. And it actually comes in perfectly, so we're actually able to like play land, play this will go to mode 2, and then it'll go to mode 3, get itself sacked, and then obviously we can pick the Corpse of the Lost back up and just kind of keep playing that way. If our opponent plays like Authority of the Councils, we're obviously in trouble. This screams counterspell to me. So I think on the premise of letting a little bit of damage go, I'm going to go to combat first here and try to hit for 5 and then play Corpse. Might counter it, and if they counter it, it's all worth. If they crack this, we're going to feel a little bit bad. But again, we just don't know what they are. We can assume it's artifacts, but sometimes they play No More Lives as well. Yeah, they sacrificed that. See what they do on their turn 3. Obviously going to target here. They could probably have the lockdown card, which would suck. Means typically their turn is going to be play scavenger, pick this back up, resolve it the next turn. Obviously ripping United Battlefront might change that, but They haven't immediately gone land and slammed it, and there's synthesizer. We're a little short. A starting town draw is not our favorite. So what do we want to give double strike here? I guess it doesn't really matter. So we do this. Play planes, and there's a reason to play the planes here. We attack, we hit them for quite a bit. Put them down to 4. End our turn, we pick this up. And the idea right now is to activate our soul stone on their end step and then play the corpse with the 3 extra mana left over. They united battlefront. This could get very dangerous very fast. Could be a little too much for us to handle. 2 constructs is all they're going to get, so that should be GG's. Yeah, I'm aware. It always tries to warn you that it will tap your land. I think we have it regardless, but, you know, we're just going to make it a bit easier on ourselves. Counter. Counter. Take another one. Attack. Block, block. Take 9. And we get there pretty easy at the end. So we probably could have been a bit more aggressive knowing it was probably artifacts. I'm not too bummed with how it went, but maybe the mindset of playing a little too passive there is bad, and maybe we're just supposed to turn up the heat and play a little bit faster. Can't be upset with this hand, that's for sure. Also being on the play is obviously like a big plus for us. Play planes, scavenger down, blue-white control. I don't think I'm establishing another scavenger here. I think I'm just going to play a case. Pump that up, get our case unlocked. Attack. Hopefully they play another tap land. Seems like it's going to be control here. Play another tap land. I mean, it's just Corpse of the Lost and run it down. 1 spell per turn. Can do, brother. Can do. I don't think I could pass up on 9 damage to not get blown out by a split up. Although I could have left this untapped and maybe just been fine that way. Airbender's Ascension, obviously going to get rid of a token here, which is fine. Just lethal, right? If they don't have anything. Let's see it. The pause. Could be a bounce spell here. You're 6. Board wipe's really weird right now. Might have enough to stop me for a turn. Could I shelter here? No, I'm going to just play the haster. Obviously, if they make me pick up my corpse, I have 4 damage. If they make me pick up a creature, I have 6 damage. And then running down control after Plague gets artifacts is obviously a pretty good sign. So with that, we'll move on. All right, we go first. Starting town, Forsaken Miner, maybe in the Shelter by Ghost. If not, probably the Weaver. Or something like a Nowhere to Run. It kind of just depends what my opponent's playing. We did lose 1 game before this, but it was against Is It Lessons, and I'm kind of on the mindset to just never post those matches, whether I win or lose. So I'm not going to lie. It's typically very boring. I could be wrong. If you have opinions, please let me know. If you actually want to see it. Typically, if there isn't a lot to learn from the match, I'll kind of keep it around just because I think educational purposes could be fine. Here. Go here because if it's the dragon deck, the 1 toughness and the 2 toughness is a bit worrisome. Going to 3 obviously is a lot better. My opponent deciding whether they're going to remove that or not. Get rid of a mountain, sure. So I lose my counter there. We play another starting town. We play case. 2 gunned, but I feel like it's probably 4 color. Yeah, I feel like it's 4 color. Well, they definitely hit a land there. They only have a Terror of the Peak, so obviously I feel a little bit better. Probably play land, pass. Target creature is going to gain double strike here. I think it definitely is this guy. I think it's play Scavenger. Play a Shelter here. We're going a little bit committal here, but if they end up answering this, I mean, we still get 8 damage in. Feels pretty good, which puts us a land draw away. Being able to Battlefront, which can oftentimes just end the game, even if it is kind of junk cards. If not, this gets answered and then that's gone. This also has Menace, so that's kind of the big factor. They just put in Town Greeter, maybe. It does come in as a 4/4, I believe, so won't matter all too much. And then we'll get to do cool stuff here. Well, it's lethal kind of regardless as long as I put a enchantment into play, right? So, do here. We put 1 counter here. I decline. It doesn't really matter. Then we go to combat. This has Menace, so they can't block it. And then they can block a 2/2, and then they take 6 for lethal. We could have Battlefronted, but that's obviously a risk. I almost hit your go, and that would have been toxic, but they didn't hit the Bringer, which obviously that's what they're going for, but wanted to play with the pressure. We get to end up taking it home there, so very cool. Oh, kind of a weird one. The white doesn't work. Being on to play here is a little bit whack, but I mean, obviously we're going to keep it. Graveyard Shenanigans once again, I think. That Weaver's a pretty good draw. Keeps us kind of playing on curve instead of taking a turn off to play Scavenger and then going Corpse. Oh, snap, brother. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we keeping up with all that. Although, our next turn's pretty explosive. How close is it to lethal? 5, 10. It's short by 1. Our next turn is. So the plan should probably be, I don't know, try not to explode. How does that change things? So let's put a counter here. Or double strike here. If I so I'm going to play land regardless. If I play here and I play this, that goes to 4, hits for 8 and then 6, which is Xaxes. Little Xaxes action. A little bit of Xaxes action. Oh, mama mia. Yeah, I'll pick this up. Nice. Again, being on the play kind of makes all the difference in that game. This is a weird one. We're going to keep. No turn 1 play, but we are on the play. So obviously we got some leeway there. We're going to play this on black. And the reason we're doing that is so if we rip, so when we play starting town, we take no damage. And then if we draw another starting town, we can play it and not take as much damage either. Although, are we playing a little defensive here? Is that worth? Maybe not. We're on the play, so I feel like playing defensive is kind of trolling, but we'll see. Especially when we have a card like Shelter by Ghost that can get in and cause a lot of problems. Most people don't really want to remove this card. Non-basic lands enter tapped. Okay, well that makes this decision a lot easier. Also has Menace, which is obviously a problem. So We'll pump that. And then they might answer something in which we have to know where to run and then find ourselves actually on the defensive. Because our X1 is pretty vulnerable. That's the only problem with Shelter by Ghost when you're not pairing it with the creature that puts extra counters on things. Is against like an aggro deck that's going to have burn spells. It's just so easy for it to get hit with Burst Lightning here and to pay the ward. And they take their creature back, obviously. So it's a bit of an issue. It's kind of why maybe that I could have gone like the nowhere to run route. Well, they decided to do something a little different here, which is kind of surprising. We go land. I feel like this has to be a United Battlefront turn. And then if we rip a land, it's like corpse and then nowhere to run. This can just be so good. Like the upside is pretty high. But when we hit 6 cards and put nothing in, we'll probably lose the game. Alright, we get about the same. We just get to pick off one of these. A pump doesn't do anything. Get an extra one, which is actually kind of bad. That means they can answer this without feeling awful, because it won't trigger our corpse, but that does mean our nowhere to run's good, and then our battlefront can be good, especially if we draw a land. I really should have tracked what was in that pile, because I don't think we shuffle after, right? Yeah, put the rest on the bottom of our library, so it's probably something I should be keeping track of based on our lands. So we know what the odds are that the pile is clustered with lands or like creatures that we can't necessarily play. I mean, I'll keep gaining life to buy us time. Especially considering Corpse of the Lost here is going to be good. This is a lightning strike here and it takes their entire turn. I'm okay with like 4 mana. They play a creature and get a creature back. Never mind. You're going pretty hard on this guy. That's 4 damage there, but it's getting kind of... 8 damage there, but it's getting kind of negated by this. Alright, so that helps out a lot. So we go land, we go scavenger, we go nowhere. It went a pretty aggressive route, but one of the things sometimes you have to realize if you're the aggressor or you need to be kind of more of the control deck. They go pretty all out here. We're at 16 now. They're 8. They can answer this and get a 2-2 back, but it'll take their entire turn. Okay, going to take that out. Hit me for 4. And then they're going to lose to our corpse. Iron Claw, not going to do it. Go to 5. This will go to 3. And just because it's mono red, we got to take them out all the way. If we're taking them out to dinner, we're going to give them dessert too, I suppose. And we get there. Very cool. It was a bit scary there for a second. I felt like if they would have just answered our creature that was gaining life, they actually would end up winning that game, where we saw Lightning Helix go upstairs and we saw something like this go. Obviously, I think, not Helix, Lightning Strike. I do think they had to answer this and get their 2-2 back. But, I mean, we end up walking away with it. So this is a weird one. On the draw, if it's an aggro deck, we feel great. If it's a control deck, we just kind of auto-lose. The reason we feel great is because, obviously, we get to go nowhere to run twice. Here, these are, I guess it doesn't matter. With kind of the mana we're going to have, it's not going to matter too much. But we'll get to nowhere to run. Hopefully, oh, they stock up. Okay, that actually does buy some time. We just pick off this Landware Elves and call it a day. So Ouroboros is not a card we'll have to deal with here. Where? We're going to bolt a bird before their turn. We might as well nowhere before the turn. Simic playing stock up does make me a bit concerned. White Lotus Hideout. Is that Lessons? It is. So this is a ramp deck. Another stock up. Fair enough, I guess. Go starting town, player case. Best draw is Corpse of the Lost here. We miss. I guess play here, play the case. But with all these lands in our hand, we should feel pretty okay at barreling the Battlefront. Then obviously something like 2 Corpse of the Lost. I know I'm asking for a lot, but that would obviously feel really, really good. This is to cast a lesson. Okay. Weirdo. Alright. Cool. We're playing shrines. I respect the game, dude. Enters draw a card for each shrine control. Whenever another shrine control enters, draw a card. Okay, so you're what? Deal with combat damage. Player may cast target non-permanent. Does it become a skeleton? Cast target non-permanent player's graveyard. This mana type cast C spell. Okay. What is the difference between 5 mana and 6 mana for them? I just don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to barrel this, but I also feel like playing Tiny Bones. I should have played this land. That playing Tiny Bones and Nowhere to Run is just good enough. Feels fine, and then we just do the Battlefront. The problem is, well, my problem, I guess, is a little bit different. We should have played this so we could technically get it to attack next turn if we wanted it to, if we didn't want to go this route, but let's be honest, we're probably doing this. Northern Air Temple is shrine. When it enters, each opponent loses X life, gain X for X number of shrines control. Whenever another shrine control enters, each opponent loses 1 life, gain 1 life. That's pretty cool. The problem is obviously legendary rule. That's 1/1. So I'm, yeah, fair enough, brother. So now we're gonna obviously play the Sanctuary. We're gonna barrel this, and we get a pretty good hit here. Do I have anything with 2 toughness? I do not. That's a bit tough to do. This has Menace. So I guess I just do it, right? Whenever another Shining Control, create a 1/1. Do it on our token, I guess. Filter by Ghost. I just don't know if I'm supposed to take one of these or take the Shrine. I think we're going to lose this game. We were way too slow. I think we're just way too slow here. I mean, I guess I could have double attacked because then I could have played their Landwar Elves, but I just don't know how we beat this at this point of the game. Which is really sweet. I'm kind of just curious what they're playing. I know it's obviously Shrines, but that's not what I mean. Here. Make a Monk. Go grab 4 basics. Alright. Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. This is a good spot to play like the Black Air Temple again. The Northern Air Temple. Yep. Just because it just drains us for 4. Legendary rule applies first, so it won't be more. But I mean, yeah, dude. We are probably cooked. They're at 27. We were just too slow. They literally had basically nothing to interact with us. And we just couldn't really do much about it. So we have to barrel this and hope it's good. I mean, just no corpses either doesn't help. You just double block here. I mean, I guess that unlocks this, right? I just don't know how we win. They let it through. So we're probably just dead to prowess then? I mean, with a million mana, at this point, if they don't win this turn and I don't draw anything at all, I'm just going to let it go. That's what, did that draw 4? Yeah. We'll see. I kind of want to see it pop off, to be honest with you. You're not going to see a player playing Shrines very often. But I'll see. If we are good, gone, and okay. Admiral Cub seems weird. Honestly, did I even read this one right? Oh, lessons or shrines. I knew it was lessons. I guess I didn't realize it was shrines too. 1/1 for something. Wait. Really cool. I don't know how they win consistently though. That's my only real fear for them. But yeah, I'm dead here, right? Yeah, I just don't know how this deck's gonna ever win consistently, because I feel like if we would have had a 1-drop, they just auto lose. Where we went on turn 2 and just kind of played like a 2-drop and then really didn't do much. But I feel like if we just go a little bit faster, I don't think we ever lose this matchup. I feel like 9 out of 10 times we win, but it's okay. It's always cool to see like an off-ball deck or an off-meta deck. I always say off-ball. I don't know why, but an off-meta deck do something. So that's pretty sick. Either way, very cool. We are first, and I'll keep. Just need to hit lands, or even good lower end stuff would be great. But really, we want lands. I say lower end stuff, but realistically, I mean we want lands the gathering. And it's happy to oblige, it seems. So we go here, just a white land, could be blue-white, we don't really know. I have a Corpse of the Lost. I've lost to Is It Lessons a couple of times, and again, it's weird, because like, yeah, I've lost to Is It Lessons, but I've also just chose not to show the games, because I think it's just not fun gameplay. Kind of as I said before, it's just like, do I have it? No. Okay, they've cast 12 spells, I'll move on. And I just don't even play them to the end. Once they've cast like their 10th spell in one turn, I just call it a day. Okay, cool. So this gives double strike. I'm going to put it on my permanent. If this goes put in the grid, well, I guess that's going to do it regardless. We're going to barrel here and hope we hit. Oh, wow. The reason the card is in the deck. So here's a cool part. Shelter by Ghost gets attached immediately. They don't get a chance to respond here, where they thought maybe they might. So we just do that. So now it has ward. There's nothing they can do about it. Gonna hit them for 10. They had to get lost. So sweet. Yeah, nice. Pretty sick. Obviously, that's why we play the United Battlefronts, is to hopefully hit copies of Corpse of the Lost. I feel like every time I've cast this, I've not hit a Corpse of the Lost, so it's kind of nice just to hit it once. But here, we wouldn't actually pick up both. We'd only pick up one, because obviously the extra power there. I mean, I guess you could argue if we're going to put them, if they get lost this, we would hit them for 10. They would go to 3, so we just pick up both, because then we play one, it's enough for lethal, things like that. Or we rip a land, we attack them with this. We have a lot of options to win there, so yeah, we'll take it. Bonus first, hand's really good, we will keep. Blue black, it seems. Go Scavenger, maybe go Starting Town, Shelter by Ghost. Okay. Definitely not wanting to play around that, but also, am I not better by just playing Case, going Corpse, and just being really, really aggressive? We don't have to worry about damage here. It's just blue-black mill. So, like, obviously, just being as fast and aggressive as we can. Hopefully, they're, like, a lot of control players, and they just decide to stock up's the card that they want to cast here. We jam Corpse. It's good if it resolves by a mile, so we jam. Also, the clearance should be pretty high, considering the fact that our opponent decided that jamming this card was great. So we're putting a counter here for it to probably get removed. We still end up dealing 6. Or they mill us. There's that amount of damage. Yeah, we'll just take that action. We're just going to play this over and over again. As long as they mill us and put permanents in our graveyard. Kind of the anti-mill card, weirdly enough. I'm actually more shocked because that card's apparently legal. Just lethal, right? It's lethal either way. Come here. Here, I guess. Auto pay. Good game. It was like a really weird game, but good game regardless. So, yeah, we have kind of the old-fashioned version of this hand where it's just skeleton, skeleton, skeleton. So we'll take it. The other good card, the Helpful Weaver, is just going to have to wait. On the sideline right now. Kelly. Okay. Jam. This makes me think it's Caretaker's talent, so obviously we're just jamming away. We'll play this first. Here. 9. Obviously, it can do a lot here. Kind of punish this play if they have it. Caretaker's talent, obviously the game's over, and that just proves how kind of violent this deck can be. Okay. Very cool. Alright, so here we are to talk about the deck once again. This is one of my favorite decks to just play in my downtime ever since kind of playing it the other day. And overall, we're 28-17, but 2 of those losses are me playing against Izzet lessons where I just knew I wasn't going to use the game and I have work tomorrow because I am fully employed along with doing these videos. But I didn't have time to sit there and play a 15-minute game to maybe win, maybe lose, and it's kind of, I find Izzet lessons very boring to play against, and I find it, like, I find myself, when I'm watching somebody's content, if they're playing against Izzet lessons, I actually just skip the game, like, even in their video. I try not to, because obviously, you know, I like to watch people's whole video if I click on it. That helps with, like, ratings and everything like that. But for me, if I see it, sometimes I just can't, and I just skip the whole thing. Because a lot of times it is literally just staring at the screen, and then nothing is happening besides your opponent casting the same 4 spells over and over. And it also is just, is it being the best deck, blue-red being the best deck for like 2 years now, thanks to Corey Steelcutter and Vivi, and now this. It's just like my temperament towards is just not there right now. It's chalked. It is literally washed, even though it has gone backwards in terms of best 3 events, but it is what it is. So with that, we are here to talk about this, where we added Tiny Bones and cut 2 seam rips. I got too annoyed's the not the correct word, but it's the word I'm going to use. I got pretty annoyed every time I cast a Battlefront that it was just hitting a seam rip that was hitting nothing, and nowhere to run's hitting nothing. And I know the alternative is like, oh, well, you're going to put a card in that hits nothing. The idea kind of was, if I didn't have the seam rips and I had earlier pressure, this could also answer creatures because, again, it has Death Touch and it can block. But the thing is, it does commit crimes that helps us bring back our Forsaken Miner over and over again, because it does target a card even if we can't cast it, and we can bring this back. So there's that. But if I'm not answering something early with a seam rip, then maybe when I Battlefront, the Nowhere to Run seam rip will actually have decent targets, and it won't feel as bad, especially when compared with 4 copies of Shelter by Ghost, and just kind of is what it is. I know that's like a weird way to word that, but that is just how I felt. But overall, we're still on a pretty good win rate, and it is helping us climb. Obviously, when you play decks like this, you're going to have very good small sessions, or maybe very bad small sessions, but over a large session pool, when you're really kind of on it and fortunes are going your way, you're going to find yourself winning like 65 to 70% of your games, even if you might not necessarily play it all that well, because you're just going to have a turn where you play Forsaken Miner, maybe a case, maybe most Helpful Weaver, and then you lead into the corpse, and then it's just kind of gravy after that. Are you casting a Shelter by Ghost? Who knows? Are you casting Battlefront because you hit the land? Maybe. Are you casting Nowhere to Run and the seam rip because you just need to remove stuff out of your way so this can continue to do more damage? Sure. Then you pick up the corpse because this would have pops, and then you play the corpse again, making everything have haste and going from there. And then other options like seam rip, bring back the Forsaken Miner with a corpse in play, and now everything's attacking with haste. So it's just a weird kind of deck, and kind of how how different each game can truly feel when playing it, because sometimes you just do what we did against the mono white deck at the end, where it was just 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. If they do nothing, it's lethal, and even if they do something, it's almost still lethal. And they just played a caretaker's talent and said, yep, you were on the play, you got it. And that's what you want. You want on the play against slower decks to get there just too fast. It's kind of like what mono red has done in the past and why it's been so effective. And that's what we're trying to do with this against, obviously, those decks. We want, if they keep a greedy hand and they don't get paid off in the turn that they need to, for example, if they keep a 2-lander and they need a 3rd and they don't hit it and they have to do something weird to find a land, we can hopefully win or set ourselves up to win the next turn. And it does very good at that. So with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a good, wonderful time. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.